Hi guys, my name is Dani and welcome to the Aspie Mama. Today we're going to talk about the life of a special needs mom. I think that this could be good for people who already are a special needs mom. If you're just starting this journey, things that you should try to consider and do for yourself. A lot of these things may seem very obvious, but I feel like some of them are things that are easily swept aside, forgotten, but they can really make a big difference in your daily life. So let's get started. Okay, so number one, my first suggestion is support. That could be family, it could be community, it could be an organization. Basically, when you have a child with special needs, you're going to need a lot of support. For me specifically, that was my family. I went to my mom a lot, who gave me a lot of support, and my father. And so my immediate family was a great support work for me. So just when I felt like I needed to vent or I needed to get something out, I had someone I could lean on and listen to who I knew wouldn't judge me or my actions or my kids, and where I could just kind of get that out. But there's also a lot of community resources. There's a lot of YouTube channels. There's a lot of Facebook groups. There's a lot of websites. There's a lot of local organizations. So you can probably just Google in your local area and find out what's local to you and kind of check it out and see if you find one that fits for you. Also, I'd like to just say I've started a blog as well called The Aspie Mama. It's at theaspiemama.com. And here, I'll just put a link 1 second. I just want to put up the website so you guys can see. So I have a blog at theaspiemama.com, and there I'm going to hopefully be starting a community section where hopefully we can be a support network for each other to give tips and advice, and it's all, no judgment, an open place. I want positive feedback, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, kind of thing. Because it's hard enough being a special needs mom. You don't need someone tearing you down, you need someone building you up. So if you're interested in that, be sure to check it out. Okay, so then my next tip I think is a huge tip, and I don't know if a lot of people consider it or do it, but I really think this is huge. So my tip is therapy, not for your child, but for you. I grew up in a family who wasn't pro therapy. We thought occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy, all this was a bunch of baloney, it was just like some made up phooey science kind of thing. And then after having my kids diagnosed, I realized, there's a lot more to it and it really does help. And then I started to realize it helps for you too. So just in case you're like me and this wasn't something that you considered initially, I recommend for any parent who has a special needs kid, whether it's autism or something else, you should get into therapy, even if it's only for a little bit or as you need basis. Like I've done it like for a few months at a time when I needed it and then didn't use it for a while, because it's really just something good to have in your toolbox. Like there's a lot of emotional struggles, there's a lot of stress and strain that having a kid with special needs can put on you, on your day-to-day, on your relationships, on your financial means. So I just think it's really important that you have that, because getting therapy can sometimes give you the tools that maybe a family or a community or an organization doesn't necessarily have the skill set to help you with. So I definitely recommend therapy. My next tip is organization. For anyone who likes to organize. Okay, I like to think I'm really organized. I try to do everything really perfected. It doesn't always work out that way. I have 5 kids, so getting anything put together is a big task. But in general, I recommend organization, and within that specifically, medical appointments. If you have a Google Calendar to always write down all your medical appointments for your kids. I have 2 kids with special needs. I have a third child who has basically in the diagnosis process, she has developmental issues so far, and so she has her own medical appointments and things. So having 3 kids with 3 different sets of appointments or like beginning of the year meetings, end of the year meetings, mid-year meetings. Then you have occupational therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy. I mean, that's a ton of appointments when you start adding it in on top of just day to day. If someone gets sick, if you have to get medicines, it's a lot to remember. So I just recommend like scheduling it out in whatever application you use to keep track of your calendar and appointments. I really, really recommend Google Calendar. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. You can even set up a calendar that's just called medical appointments, and you can schedule everything under that calendar. So then when it shows up with your other regular calendar, you can see, and then you can share that calendar out also with like your husband, or if you have like a family member, like a mother or like a grandmother or something that's going to help take kids, or if there's a babysitter or someone else that would help you get to these appointments or do these appointments, you can like add them to the invite, and so then it's put into their calendar so they can see and book around it as well. So that's just like a big tip. And my second tip within that is paperwork. You will get a lot of paperwork. I have binders for each of my boys. They now like this thick. I kid you not. I have 2 of them. And then I have one like this for my daughter. And it is full. But basically in those binders, I have every single paper that I have gotten from them. And I've even organized it out. I would like to do this, but I haven't done it. Which you could go and do is get tabs and put tabs into it, and then it would be even more organized. But basically I have in the front of the binder, it's just a basically like a little thin plastic binder, and then it has like those clear sleeve pages in it, but they're like glued into it. So there's like 100 pages, I think, in the 2 that I have for my boys, and my daughter's I think is like 20 or 30 pages. It's a lot less because she doesn't have as much paperwork. But basically then I organize it by hearing tests, eye tests, like all the initial like documentation basically that we had to start, which was like checking that their hearing is okay, checking that their eyesight is okay. And then I have like the initial evaluations, and then I just start putting everything in from oldest to newest. The newest goes at the back, so anything new just goes straight into the back. It has everything. It has evaluations from the developmental doctor. It has their diagnosis papers if they have. It has any like where we live, we get medical benefits for our kids, so it has that documentation in there. For their disability, they get money for being disabled. So it has that paperwork in there. It has their school paperwork from their occupational therapist, their physical therapist, their speech therapist, their art therapy, anyone who works with them and writes a paper up about what they did with them, where they are in the process with them, where they're holding in their growth is basically in this book. It's anything that you could need, whether it's to show like their diagnosis, whether it's to show where they were, where they are now. It's just good to have all this paper, and you will have a lot, and things get lost, and it's always good to have like a solid backup copy. I also like if I have anything that comes in via email, sometimes I get email copies of things. Then I have a folder in my email box, and it says kids paperwork, and then I just stick it in there, and then I print out a copy, so I have a hard copy, and then I also just keep it there for like quick reference if it's something that I'm going to need to email or send to someone else. So that's another tip. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else organization wise. And then also it's just like general organization. I do a lot of schedules, like general schedules, block scheduling. If that's something you guys are interested in, I can make another video about that. So just let me know, because it's like a whole thing in and of itself. But I really recommend trying to have some sort of daily structured routine within the house, even if it's loosely, just because things do change. But with kids on the spectrum, on the autism spectrum, it's definitely worth having some sort of routine that they can expect and know what's happening. It makes a big difference in their day. The next thing is self-care. Yes, all mothers are bad at this usually. No, I don't know. I know a lot of moms, and whether they have special needs kids or not, this is something hard. It's like something about like you become a mom and you have your kids and you're kind of just in mom mode, and then one day you kind of wake up and you're like, hey, I don't do this anymore, or I don't do that anymore. What happened? And it's kind of like you gotta take care of yourself too. We all get lost, we all get buried, but it's important to remind yourself you are your own person. You have your own needs, and if you fill your cup, you can't take care of your kids. If your cup is crumbled and broken and there's a giant hole in the bottom and it's just hemorrhaging water, you can't put water in to refill yourself to fix it. So if you're not whole, you can't be whole to take care of your kids. You really have to take care of yourself in order to take care of your kids. Like if you're not in a good place mentally, that's why I also recommended therapy. It's like if you're having a hard time balancing everything, or everything's becoming stressful and you're not getting the proper tools or the proper support or the proper help, and everything's just kind of crushing in on you, then you're really not going to be in a place to give your kids the best care or the best attitude or put your best foot forward. And this just makes things a lot easier. And when I say self-care, I don't mean like go somewhere for a week or do something crazy. It could be something as simple as going to get your eyebrows done, like taking 30 minutes to an hour for yourself. Go get your nails done, go get your eyebrows done, go to a movie, go get ice cream with a friend, read a book for 30 minutes, go see a movie, just something that interests you. If you like to crochet, if you like to do creative stuff, go do something. Go find yourself an hour. Tell your husband, like, you're taking care of the kids and I'm going to have my self-care time. Like, this is my time. Don't disturb me. Like, do not disturb, which is why I really recommend going out of the house or doing it during a time where maybe if your kids are in school, that like you could do it while they're at school and have time to just kind of and breathe. That's my recommendation. Okay, and the next one is, and the final one is spouse time. Making a date for you and your spouse. When you are a parent and you have kids, you tend to focus on your kids, you tend to focus on your job, then you're tired, then it's housework, Sometimes your relationship kind of gets pushed to the bottom of the pile, and even more so when you're a mom of a kid or multiple kids with special needs, even more so. Making a date for you and your spouse, like having you time that you guys do something together as a couple and reconnect is so important. I would say to do this maybe at least a minimum of once a month, but if you could, like every week to every 2 weeks. It could be something as simple as like at night you guys say, okay, on Saturday night we're gonna sit down, we're gonna watch a movie together. It doesn't have to cost money. Like if money is an issue, just do something at home together and say this is our time to unplug, put the phones aside and say this is our time, we're gonna do something together, we're gonna talk about something, we're gonna play a game, we're gonna cook dinner together, we're gonna have dessert together. I don't know, just something. You could even get a babysitter, you could go out for the night. Like it just depends on what you guys like and your budget and your needs, but I really recommend just making time for this. So these were my 5 suggestions of life of a special mom and things that you should consider adding into your repertoire, or I guess if you don't think it helps, then don't do it. I'd love to know what you guys think, so please leave your answers in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think, or if you have any additional suggestions, things that work for you and your family, I'd love to hear about those too. If you guys have any suggestions for videos, also be sure to leave that below. And if you like this video, be sure to like it and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. And yeah, that's it pretty much for today. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.